Hello and welcome back, Hipsippers. In this quick video, I'm going to show you how to create your first blockchain app in Java. So stick around. Alright guys, so before I get started, let me give you a brief introduction about blockchain. I know by now all of you more or less actually hear about blockchain, but it's good to basically give some basic introduction in order to be sure we are all on the same page. So essentially blockchain is a network of computers, network of machines called node, alright? And all these nodes have the same history of transactions. So instead of one company or like a data center or database which hold all this information, now in this concept of blockchain, this architecture, our information is spread across all the entire network. So whenever a transaction happens, that is basically validated by everyone, or in other words every node or machine in this network, and is put ahead in that history of transaction in that network. All right, and all these transactions are essentially encoded using a technique based on cryptography. All right, so that's the whole concept of blockchain and blockchain architecture. So that's important to note that blockchain is not only about Bitcoin, all right, or Ethereum, because it's always on the news when people actually think that blockchain and Bitcoin or Ethereum are the same thing, But the truth of the matter is, Bitcoin is simply a digital currency, a cryptocurrency, which is built on top of blockchain technology. So blockchain, in other words, is way beyond of Bitcoin itself, right? And there are many use cases being built over which we can basically trade any asset using blockchain. So I just created my own empty project in Java in IntelliJ, and I call this Hipsy block. And here I just created an empty class which is called block. And now I'm going to start to define my properties. So as I stated before, we have three important private properties. So I would call this private integer and previous hash. All right, to hold the previous hash. Then another one is a string, and that could be our data. So as I said earlier, a string. Here, just for the sake of simplicity, I use a string. So you can use other structures like a Ethereum smart contract. And the last one is another private int. Let's call this hash. Okay, this is our hash, previous hash, and data. So now we need to define constructor here, and I would call this public block, and we have two arguments. We have data and we have previous hash. All right, so what we are going to do with that is the data has to be set by data. We set that, and we are going to define previous hash with previous hash like this. Okay, so now what we are going to do here is we are going to mix basically the content of this block with previous hash in order to make the hash of this new block, and that's what makes it basically blockchain. All right, so in order to do that, I need to use array. I need to import basically array class in my project. So I import core class from util and arrays. That's as simple as possible. So now I'm going to create my chain. Creating a chain. blockchain. Okay, so what we are going to do, this hash, this point hash is equal to arrays and hash code like this. We use basically internal method, new integer like this, integer, and here we are going to put our data, hash code of our data, as well as previous hash. Quite clear. Alright, we save this, and yeah, we are almost done. Alright, now we need to actually invoke that in the main function and create the chain actually, because now we have the infrastructure, we have the blockchain things, and now we need to make it and make our actual chain here. Alright, so what we can do, we are going to make again import list and arrays here. So I import again built-in. I'm just gonna use built-in packages here, and util array list, as well as import Java util and list. Okay, just like this, like a list. So I'm going to make my own blocks, and now what do? We want to have the block, and we would call this object blockchain. Let's call this list, which is make an instance here, array list. All right, just like this, and we make Genesis block here. Just take a look at this. Here is our Genesis block. So we need to actually create this one here. Okay. Genesis, and this is equal to a new block. So what would be the data? You can say block zip blockchain. Okay, calls. You can add your own string. Okay, and as you can see here, the previous hash of Genesis block is nothing actually. We don't have it. We just set that 0 as the previous hash, and that indicates this is Genesis block here. And then we are going to add blockchain list. We are going to add our Genesis block. Okay. And okay, the next stage I'm going to add the next block. Okay, normal block here. We have another block. Create a new block. This is called let's say block I don't know, we can call this first. It's not actually the first block. We call this block X. All right, and block X is equal to new. Again, we make new instance of block, and we call this hello. And the previous one, guess what? We need to use blockchain list, and we want to get the hash of Genesis here. Get, and In terms of index, we use like block change list again. Size of that, this is actually, we use a simple hashing here, right? This is quite simple. And -1. I would get basically hash code. So it gives me essentially you know, this a hash code for basically given so essentially this method here simply gives us you know, distinct integer for distinct objects. Alright, so we use just this built-in method here in order to obtain some sort of hash code, you know, or basically distinctive integer number here to make things easier. Of course, you can later on override that and add, you know, create another method. But just for the sake of simplicity, we just use this. And then after doing this, I need to add this to my chain. So I use this one, block chain list, and again use method add, and now we have block x. So by the same token, we can actually create other blocks and add them to our hash. So let's say blocks x, y, z. Okay, and hello to hip zip channel, something like that. Quite simple. So by now actually we created our chain, and as you can see, it's quite, you know, simple and easy. And as you can see, Java is a powerful language, and without needing other, you know, languages or other how can I say, external packages or libraries, you can easily create your own blockchain app. It just requires you understand how blockchain works out. So now let's go ahead and a little bit mess around with our blockchain here. I'm going to print out some stuff. Print line, and I'm going to add some dollar sign, and so here I'm going to use my blockchain list, and I use for each to iterate basically all elements inside of it, and I use system out and print line like this. And then I'm going to separate that. And test my code now. Alright, so now you can see the results. Okay, so we have our Genesis block here, and then we have the first block, then we have the second block, and here we have the last block. Okay. Alright guys, so that was for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, please don't forget to push the like button. write down your comment and subscribe to my channel. I also will be appreciated if you consider to donate some crypto or buy one of my products in the link down below, and to support basically my channel to create more content and content with better quality. And I just want to mention that I have also a complete course on Udemy that explain how you can actually create practical ransomware, cross-platform ransomware in Java. I also explain how you can actually write a code in Java step by step, how to define a variable, what is object, class, so on and so forth. I also break down various cryptographic algorithms for file encryption in Java, and but with the simple language and figures and this sort of things. I also show in my course how to basically perform reverse engineering in order to extract the key and recover your files without paying ransom to cyber criminals. So I think that's quite informative course for those of you who actually are interested in understanding how ransomware and malware in general in Java work, and how you can basically mess around with that, how you can protect yourself and your network in this area. So that was for today. I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.